Hello friends! I realized recently that I haven't done an in-depth tutorial or video explaining how I edit black and white film photos, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Here is the first one. So I'm gonna right click it and then open it up in Photoshop. So here is the raw image. I will get into the exporting process after we're all done editing here. Okay, so right off the bat, this photo is super gray. It has dust specks all over, so we're gonna fix that. Everyone's approach to editing photos is different. Some people do it stylistically. For me, I'm just gonna show you guys how to get like the basic corrections done or how I would edit it. I make a copy of the original layer just so I have a backup, and then from here I would usually do curves since this image has a border around it, so it has the white here and the black from the actual like film. It's kind of altering the curves a bit, so you can see like there's a spike in the black here and a spike in the white. That's basically data from here and here. So I would just totally ignore that. So I'm gonna bring this in, and that's definitely gonna help the whites. So it brings up the highlights. I'm just gonna bring it up to about here. And then here, bring it in just a little bit. What you want to be careful of is making sure you don't lose detail in your blacks. So let's say I bring it in all the way here. You can see you don't see as much detail in her hair anymore. So a good tip that I learned in one of my design classes, I think I mentioned this in my past editing video, but you just bring in the points to where the data starts, I guess, or where the graph starts, if that makes sense. I'll make it bigger so you can see better what I'm talking about. So I brought the point in here and here. So now I'm going to play with the midtones a little bit. I do want the midtones to be a little bit darker. Just like that. I'm just gonna double check, see how it looked before and after. I feel like we are losing just a little bit of detail in her hair, so I'm going to tweak that a little bit more. There. I feel like that's good. Can you tell the difference? It's all about like subtle tweaks. I feel like that's perfect right here. One of the problems I faced when I actually like made a print out of this in the darkroom is I made it too contrasty, so what happened is this chunk of greenery just turned black and you couldn't see the detail. So I feel like I'm righting my wrongs right now. Okay, next we're going to fix the dust spots. This is one of the main reasons why I prefer to use Photoshop. I also don't do batch editing, so it wouldn't be beneficial for me to use Lightroom to like copy and paste the settings, but if I did need to batch edit, I could totally do that here and just copy the settings from here and then paste it onto the other photo I was using. For editing the dust specks, I don't edit directly on the image. I create a new layer and then I use this tool, the spot healing brush tool. There are several options here you could use. Spot healing brush tool just works perfectly fine for getting rid of dust. It analyzes the area and it just masks the dust perfectly in most cases. You can see here like it kind of altered it a little bit, so you can just click on it again and it's totally fine. Sometimes it will correct the dust and leave like a circular looking imprint, so be wary of that. The way I go about this is I would take away the most distracting spots, like especially this spot right here that's been bugging me from the start. I won't go in and fix like every single piece of dust or lint on here, just the really annoying parts. I feel like some people might actually enjoy the look of dust and specks on their negatives. One of the photographers that I really like is Jake Wagner. He is a film photographer. He does long exposures, double exposures, and uses really creative lighting. And I guess one of his trademarks in his photos is taking advantage of the dust and specks on his photos, like he embraces them. So this is the corrected image. I'm gonna crop it now. I don't want to include this tile here. It wasn't even meant to be part of the photo, so I feel totally fine cropping in on that. Maybe moving it up more like this. I might crop it as a square actually. So this is a finished photo. What happens when I do these types of videos and I edit live, I guess, is I watch back the videos like a few months later and I'm like, I would have done this differently. So yeah, this is what me right now would like to see in the photo. But besides that, the export settings, I go to export as. If you wanted to print it, or if you wanted to do like a big print of it, you might want to edit the image size a little bit, but since this is probably just gonna go on Instagram, I'm just gonna save it as a PNG export. And then I'll save it where I had it. You can tell the difference because it's in a PNG file rather than a TIFF. I would have two different folders, unedited and edited, but it doesn't really matter this time. Yeah, so that's that one. Now I'm going to do the second one. This is one of my favorite photos that I've taken. I'm so proud of this photo. Alright, so this photo needs a lot of work. You can see it's actually hanging up here. That's one of my final prints I have of this photo. I did a black border. Maybe I'll try to recreate this. Yeah, that's what I'll do this time. Something a little bit more fun. Same deal. Gonna duplicate the background. And then I'm going to go to adjustments. I shot this for sure with Tri-X 400, and this one is a 35mm. Again, there's a spike in the black and white, but that's because of the border, so once again I'm gonna ignore it. Again, don't want to lose too much detail in the blacks. I feel like that's good. And then as for the midtones, let's see, what do I, yeah, that looks good. That is beautiful. So I'm gonna bring it up like this and then work on the S curve. Yeah, it's really starting to come together, I think. And we're only like a third of the way there. I feel like we need to let some light back in, really let the chrome on the bumper shine. Is that chrome? I don't know. I feel like this really lets life back into the photo. This is not an S by any means, but I like how it looks. So we're gonna roll with it. I don't know when it stopped recording, but thank goodness I'm recording on my laptop as well. So now we're going to go in with the spot healing tool. One of the things I had to fix when I printed this in the darkroom is this annoying piece of gum. So I'm pretty sure I just cropped this out, but with the magic of Photoshop, I'm going to spot heal it. I kind of like the crack, so I'm gonna redo that and try not to mess with the crack too much. So I'm gonna get nice and close. Is this gum or is it a bottle cap? Huh. So there's one way of doing it. I will show you how I would also use the healing brush tool. So I'm gonna undo it. I had trouble doing this before when I first started learning Photoshop on my own, but basically what you want to do is hold down Option or Alt, I guess, if you're using Windows. Option, and then click on whatever you want to sample. So since it's graveled and it's super textured everywhere, it doesn't really matter, it's gonna blend in anyway. So I'm just gonna click here and I'm just gonna stamp where I feel like it should be. Both options work. I use both. So now I'm going to go ahead and fix the dust. The dust on this one isn't too bad for some reason, so that's cool. This is probably not dust, but it's bugging me, so I'm gonna get rid of it anyway. My laptop screen is so dusty, sometimes I can't tell if it's the dust on the photo or my laptop. But anyways, that's pretty good to me. Now I'm gonna go in and crop, but this time I think I'm just gonna mask it because I do want to keep the black border. Something I kind of don't like is this right here. It's a little bit distracting, like it draws your eyes to it when your eyes should be drawn here. Like my eyes keep going in this direction, so I'm going to make a mask. I'm gonna select. I'm gonna use this rectangular tool, and then so there's this option which just allows you to select a singular rectangle like so, but with this option you can pick multiple spots that you would want to mask, so that works better for me. So I'm going to try my best to crop that. So here, there's probably a better method of doing this, but now I'm going to invert my selection. So now I'm going to mask it, hide that. You can see some of the corrections I made here. That's fine. And like the cropping is a little bit uneven, so I'm just gonna tweak it a little bit. So the white part of the mask means like this part is the part of the image that's showing, and then the black is what's being hidden by the mask. So if I want to hide more, I'm going to just use a paint bucket tool and select the part that I want to mask. And now I'm going to create another layer and use the paint bucket tool. What's the shortcut for paint bucket? G. And I'm just gonna drop it. So you can see there's a little bit of a mistake here. I'm gonna do the same thing, make sure the mask is selected, and then I'm going to do that. And then paint bucket tool with the black to mask it. You can see that the correction I made on the bottle cap is going outside of the mask that I made. So I'm going to hold Option or Alt, oops, and then I'm going to drag the mask onto the correction layer like so. So now the mask is on both of these layers. So it's like a clean border. So there's that image. She's beautiful. Sometimes I'll group my changes together, Command G, so I can see the before and after much better. So here's the before, here's the after. What do we think? I think it's pretty good. If this were actually being printed, I would take more time to perfect the border. So when you're exiting, it's gonna ask if you want to save the changes that you made. I personally don't save it. I like having the original scan in my hard drive, so I have a copy of the original and the edited version, so I prefer not to save the changes that I made to the document. So don't save. Same here. That's it. That is how I edit my black and white photos. If there's anything else you guys want to see, please let me know. I will see you guys again very soon. Bye.